Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. My name is Kyle. In today's video, we're doing our Week 5 starts and sits. We're going to look at everything that I have here on thefantasyfellowship.com. If you go to thefantasyfellowship.com, just click on the Week 5 page here. You'll get all the charts that you need there. We got a bunch of other things on there that you can click for links and whatnot. But I hope you guys are having a good evening. Good evening, Aiden. Good evening, Harris. Hope you guys are having a good one. Before we get into the Week 5 stuff, though, I do want to cover some news and some notes because there's a lot of player practice news coming in today. We're going to just kind of read this through. We're using NBC Sports Edge here. Aaron Jones limited in practice today. He still went on to handle a bunch of touches last week, so I think they're just kind of being cautious with him in an ankle. Green Bay doesn't have a bye for a long time here, so they're probably just being cautious with their best running back. Dalvin Cook did not practice today. Again, they're just being cautious with him. It's a long season. It's only Week 5 of 18. We'll see if Cook can practice on Thursday or Friday. He's on track to play. He didn't re-injure anything from what I know in Week 4, so he's going to probably get into some practice on Thursday or Friday. Teddy Bridgewater not practicing today. That's an interesting one. Same thing with Melvin Gordon not practicing. So Melvin Gordon, I'm going to continue to watch him. It's a tough game against Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh for the Broncos. So if Gordon misses another day of practice, I'm going to be interested in Jamal Williams quite a bit. Teddy Bridgewater, again, not practicing. We'll see if he can get into practice tomorrow or Friday. But if not, Drew Lock would be the guy. I guess that's really only useful for Superflex leagues. Tyler Higbee removed from the final injury report. He's going to play tomorrow night. Josh Jacobs, good to see him limited at practice. That means he's on track to play. No re-injuries for the man Josh Jacobs. And I'm interested. I think... I don't know. It's hard to tell. Again, it's Wednesday practice. Usually if it's a no practice, it usually doesn't mean too much. Thursdays and Fridays are the most important days. So we'll see. We did see that Gordon was dinged up last week on the practice report too. So maybe they hold him out this week. We'll see what happens there. Packers signed Jalen Smith. That was pretty cool today. Khalil Mack sidelined for practice on Wednesday, DNP. Giovanni Bernard returned to a limited practice today. That's interesting. Rob Gronkowski still not practicing. Let's see here. Byron Jones not practicing today. Devontae Parker limited with a shoulder. We'll see. As long as he practiced in a limited capacity, he's on track to play at least. Danny Amendola returned to practice. Who cares? David Njoku not practicing. This is interesting. Jair Alexander's got a shoulder injury. They're not sure if he needs surgery or anything. They're trying to avoid it because that would likely mean he's shut down for the season. Packers also signed a cornerback, Rasul Douglas, today from the Arizona practice squad. So we're watching this. This could be a really good thing for the Bengals. And speaking of the Bengals, T. Higgins returns to practice today. He gets a limited in there. That means he's on track to play. I like the Bengals matchup against the Packers secondary this week. Julio Jones did not practice today. Joe Mixon did not practice today. And A.J. Brown was at least able to return to practice, so that's a good sign for him, potentially playing this Sunday. And then Amari Cooper, no practice as well. Big one for tomorrow night's game. Chris Carson's questionable for the Rams. The Rams-Seahawks Thursday night showdown. Alex Collins, you guys should go run and check your waiver wires and see if Alex Collins is available. Only if you need to, if you need a running back too, or a useful flex, I think Alex Collins could be your guy. And even if you don't want to use him for tomorrow night, this neck injury, it doesn't. I don't like neck injuries for any football player, really any profession. Really, a neck injury is not ideal. So I'm interested in Alex Collins for rest of season as well. He looked like the best number 2 running back behind Carson. Juju limited today. Good to see Chase Claypool back with a limited. Roethlisberger not practicing. Jamal Williams limited. TJ Hawkinson not practicing with a knee injury. We're going to keep an eye on that one. George Kittle not practicing today. Elijah Mitchell was limited. That's good. No Jimmy Garoppolo today either. And then another big piece of news was Christian McCaffrey returned to a limited, which means he's on track to play. If he's able to log limited practices the rest of the week, we'll see if they can get him in the lineup this week. No Ezekiel Elliott today. Knee discomfort. So he's going to practice tomorrow and see if he can get through it, but we'll watch that a little bit. And then some fun news here for Jerry Judy. High ankle sprain, but he hopes the head coach hopes Jerry Judy is able to return after missing 6 weeks. So somewhere between week 7 and week 8, the return is near for Jerry Judy. A couple dinged up Giants receivers, Kenny Galladay's limited, Darius Slayton and Sterling Shepard, both no practices today. And this is a big one. Logan Thomas was placed on injury reserve. So that means Ricky Seals-Jones is the next man up here. This just makes me like I mean, Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, maybe even a little bit more J.D. McKissick. We'll see. The Washington football team also signed Jay Sternberger as a roster replacement here. So interesting news. No Logan Thomas for the next 3 weeks. Let me know if you guys have questions on Logan Thomas. And that should be the majority of the news today. Antonio Gibson, Curtis Samuel, both sidelined today. Stephon Gilmore, of course, was he wasn't acquired. He wasn't traded. He was acquired by the Panthers here in exchange for a draft pick. Justin Fields is going to start. Good to know here. And I think we got pretty much everything we needed here. Elijah Moore returned to practice today. So that's pretty much the main news and notes pieces that we needed to. Let me see what we got here for questions. Do I drop Gainwell or Murray and pick up Collins or Pirine? I mean, Pirine has the shortest shelf life, being the Bengals backup. I think Mixon's going to be fine. It's just a low ankle sprain, not really too concerning here. So Pirine doesn't have a long shelf life. Kenneth Gainwell, I think, is probably the most valuable guy for the rest of the season. He's already outplaying Miles Sanders, and then if anything happens to Sanders, Gainwell's going to get the most workload. But I think Collins, I would rather own Alex Collins than Latavius Murray. I know Murray looked good the other day, but it's hard to trust the Baltimore backfield. Whereas if Carson's not out, Collins is going to be the guy. And then again, with the neck injury, I'm a little hesitant there. So for me, I'm probably just going to ditch Latavius Murray, let someone else deal with it. Collins, though, he could be a feature back for Seattle. Zeke, they said it was just knee discomfort. I don't really know what that means, but they said he's going to practice tomorrow. So if they didn't say that, I'd be a little bit more concerned, but it sounds like they're just letting him have an extra day of rest. Melvin Gordon or Josh Gordon, I don't know. It's too early to tell with Melvin yet. Higbee or Schultz. Interesting. Let me look at the charts here. So Higbee going up against the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle allows about 13.73 points per game to the tight end position here. They've allowed 2 touchdowns, 21 catches, and 219 yards. So in 4 games, that's an average of 5 catches and 50 yards for the tight end with a 50% chance of scoring. So I like Higbee. As far as Dalton Schultz, he's going to get the Dallas Cowboys, or he's going to get the New York Giants. This is probably the better play here. I might just wait and take my Schultz points here. The Giants are allowing a little bit more in terms of fantasy points here. They've also allowed 4 tight end touchdowns this year. I think I'm going to roll with Schultz. 10-team full PPR, Damian Williams, Damian Harris, or Cordero Patterson. 10-team full PPR. Full PPR, I'm getting Patterson in there. He's the guy that has been the most successful so far. So I'm going to continue to lean on Patterson, and it's against the Jets. I'm debating between Pitts and Schultz, but I think Pitts can boom. So one thing, this is a good question because you have a question of Pitts and Schultz, and then you have a question of Schultz or Higbee. Maybe it's a good idea to diversify. Go with Schultz over the Higbee one, and then maybe go with Pitts over Schultz. And because if they have a bad game, it's going to suck. It's not a bad idea to diversify a little bit, and get different players in the lineup. Good evening, Eduardo. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Hunt 2. Kareem Hunt going up against the LA Chargers. I'm probably going to try to get Kareem Hunt in the game. I feel pretty good with Kareem Hunt. That's probably the guy that I wouldn't want to sit. Do you want to trade Antonio Gibson for Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Do you want to trade Antonio Gibson for Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Personally, for me, I still probably want to hold on to Gibson. Because Clyde's he's just not that involved in the passing game. I know he scored 2 touchdowns the last 2 weeks, but I think I still prefer Gibson. He seems a little bit more trustworthy every week. Henry Ruggs or AJ Green. Henry Ruggs, the Raiders are going up against the Chicago Bears. That's a good matchup for Henry Ruggs. AJ Green, Arizona, he's going to be getting the San Francisco 49ers. AJ Green's been playing good. I think he's seen 6 targets in like every game so far this year. So Harris, this is a question. If you want to play it safe, go with AJ Green. If you want to hit the boom ceiling, a 60-yard touchdown catch, you go with Henry Ruggs. So it's a matter of risk versus reward. Go with Green if you want the safe, 8 to 10 points minimum, and then Ruggs has the extra boom. 12-team PPR pick 2: Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Kenny Golladay, Pascal, Kirk, Josh Gordon, Schultz. I'm not using Josh Gordon yet. We're going to wait and see what he looks like. He might only, play a handful of snaps anyways, even if he does play. So I'm going to wait for Gordon. But Schultz, potentially a flex play, Watkins, Cobb, and Khalif Raymond. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Galladay, Pascal, Kirk, Josh Gordon. I'm trying to get Galladay in my lineup, and then probably Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Those are the two guys that I like there. Darren Waller or more Alley Cox. This shouldn't be a question. Like Darren Waller, man, you spent a second or third round pick on him. We're gonna go with Darren Waller, no question. Minnesota or Raiders defense. The Raiders at home against the Bears. Minnesota at home against the Lions. I'll go with Minnesota. There's a few more turnover potentials there. I think Minnesota will be okay. Murray or Melvin Gordon this week. It's too early to tell. I don't know if I trust Melvin Gordon. I'd probably go with Latavius Murray in this question. But we're going to hop into some start sits real quick for the Rams and the Seahawks tomorrow night. I think you got to get Stafford and Russell Wilson in your lineups. I'm going to have to move Chris Carson down here. I'm going to move Alex Collins up to probably a flex play. I don't think he's a must-start running back, too. I think he's going to offer some nice flex points. But Darrell Henderson in this game, I actually might move him up to running back 1. So if I get any Darrell Henderson questions, my answer is going to be to start him. You're going to want to get him in your lineups this week. Seattle allows a ton of running back points. They allow actually the second most running back points here in PPR league. So I know they played Derrick Henry that one big game, but Darrell Henderson's probably going to eat. So make sure you get him in your lineups. Your starting Kupp, Metcalf, Lockett. I think Higbee is a guy you want to try to get in your lineup. In the question earlier, we had Dalton Schultz. I think that's kind of like the fringe question. Tyler Higbee, a top 6, top 7, tight end this week. Robert Woods, I'm going to continue to use Robert Woods. He hasn't boomed yet. He's been getting his floor games, which is nice. In a game against Seattle, you could see a nice Robert Woods day. And then Van Jefferson, he's been playing pretty well so far through 4 games. I know it's been 2 touchdowns week 1, and then week 4 he scored. But he's a guy that probably should be owned in 12-man leagues. I'm probably going to say no to both defenses. If you have to start one, you're going to want to maybe start the Rams. We don't care about Sony Michel or Deshaun Jackson in our lineups. But again, Alex Collins, I'm going to have to move him up to a flex. Freddy Swain, man, if anything happens to Lockett or Metcalf, Freddy Swain, Russell Wilson was talking really good things about Freddy Swain the other day in his press conference, and I think he's a guy that we could maybe trust down the line if something arises. And then we're still waiting to see if Everett is going to play. If Everett does play, he might be still too risky for a tight end 1 spot. And then same thing with Will Disney. I'm going to avoid the tight ends for that one. But fun game. Finally a good Thursday night football game. Let me see here. Sermon or Jason Mayer? Sermon or Jason Mayer? Who's Jason Mayer? Who's Jason Mayer? I don't know who that is. Why is CMC projected 27 points? Because he might play. He might play this Sunday. He got a limited practice in today. 10-team PPR flex: Patterson, Claypool, Elijah Mitchell, Tony Pollard, Renfro, Latavius Murray. PPR, give me Patterson for sure. I kind of like Renfro. Renfro's been playing really well against the Bears. I think I'm going to roll with Renfro in this one. Meyer, or Jason Meyer. I don't know who Jason Meyer is. Is that a kicker? I don't know who Jason Meyer is. Am I just being stupid? Jason Meyer. Southern Baptist Theology Seminary. Probably not him, huh? Is that a kicker? Jason Myers, the kicker? Jason Myers, kicker. So Sermon or you can Sermon the running back or Jason Myers. You can start a running back or a kicker. I'm confused. I'm confused. Yes, Jason Myers is the Seahawks kicker. Yeah, I don't know. I need more information. You can use a running back or a kicker. Is that correct? But the Jets and the Falcons, this is the London game, first thing in the morning. Jacoby Myers. There we go. Everyone's figured it out now. You have to watch the practice reports. If Elijah Mitchell does not play, I like Trey Sermon, but I think for now it's Houston. Jacoby Myers is hot. I'm probably going to roll with Jacoby Myers in this one. So glad we figured that out, guys. Good work. But the Jets and the Falcons, for guys I'm trying to get in my lineup this week, Matt Ryan's got fringe quarterback 1 upside against the Jets. Mike Davis and Cordero Patterson should be in your lineups, same as Calvin Ridley and Kyle Pitts. For the Jets side, we're actually getting a little excited here about the Jets. I think Zach Wilson can be a quarterback 2 for Superflex leagues. He should be a top 20 option this week against a very porous Falcons defense that is allowing they allow 25.64 fantasy points here. So I think we could see at least 20 out of Zach Wilson, maybe 2 touchdowns on this one. I want to see him use his legs a little bit more. because he just hasn't really unleashed himself in the running game yet. Corey Davis, a nice wide receiver 3 option this week. Jamison Crowder was a hot waiver wire pickup this week. He's going to be a PPR flex. And then maybe Michael Carter, just because Atlanta's defense is not very good. So I think this could be a nice spot to get your Jets in your lineups this week. Say no to the defenses in this one. No Olamide Zaccheaus, no Elijah Moore yet, no Ty Johnson, no Braxton Berrios. But I'm just excited to wake up and have football playing right away as soon as we wake up. Let me see here. CD, Renfro, Patterson, Flex. I'm using CD. I don't want to get too cute with it. We drafted CD Lamb in the 3rd round. It was one bad game last week. I know he had 9 points the week before, but I'm gonna roll with CD for sure. I'm not gonna worry too much about it. I hate how you have to drop good people because you don't want to play. What? Hawk, I hate you. I have to drop good people because well, he might play. We'll see. I know. We'll see. You got to watch the practice reports. We'll see if you can hold on to him. But Green Bay and Cincinnati, this one is going to be an interesting one. Green Bay's defense is dinged up a little bit with Jair Alexander. It sounds like Joe Mixon's probably not going to play in this one. As far as Packers are going to get, Rodgers, Aaron Jones, Devontae Adams, of course. Robert Tunyon's kind of becoming a afterthought at tight end right now. He's almost too boom bust to trust. So if you have questions on Tunyon, I'm probably going to lean towards whoever your other option would be. Randall Cobb, if you're feeling desperate, he could be a wide receiver 3 flex for you. Maybe the Packers defense. I really don't know. I think this game could get a little shootout worthy here. AJ Dillon, Alan Lazard, leave those guys on the bench, but I'm not going to be surprised if I see a Lazard touchdown here. Joe Burrow, he's a quarterback 2 for me, but he could be used as a quarterback 1 if you need him in a pinch. If you went, late QB and you're looking at Burrow as your QB1 this week, I think that's doable. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Tyler Boyd, these guys need to be in your lineups this week. And then CJ Uzama, I would rather have Uzama than Robert Tunyon in this one. So if you guys have questions on him, let me know. And then with the Joe Mixon injury, Samaje Perine should have been scooped up in your leagues. He can be a fringe running back to a top 20, top 24 running back this week. So fun game here. Cincinnati 3-1, Green Bay 3-1. So we're going to get a good noon game to start the day there. Detroit at Minnesota. So this TJ Hawkinson news, we're going to have to watch this. Again, we were just looking at this earlier. Let me pull up the news here. So TJ Hawkinson with the knee did not practice. He just needs to practice Thursday or Friday. We'll see what happens here. But it is a little concerning here that TJ Hawkinson might not be in. And that might also be a push to get you your Minnesota Vikings in your lineups as well. So for now, I'm just going to say the Minnesota side, Kirk Cousins, you're going to use him as a fringe quarterback 1. He looks great as a 2. Jefferson and Adam Thielen are in your lineups for sure. I'm assuming Dalvin Cook is going to be on track to play as long as he practices Thursday or Friday. Again, if Cook misses, the universal rule is you want to start Alexander Mattison. Tyler Conklin can be a tight end 1 this week. Probably going to say no to KJ Osborne. That's only more for deeper leagues. And then on the Detroit side, Jared Goff, maybe I might move him down to a QB2 if there's no Hawkinson. DeAndre Swift can maybe be useful here. As a top 5, top 10 running back in the passing game, especially if Hawkinson's out. And if Hawkinson is out, Khalif Raymond is an interesting guy that you can maybe use as a 8 to 10 point floor guy. And then Jamal Williams. Again, if Hawk's out, I'm trying to get Jamal Williams in my lineups. And then Quintez Cephas, Amon-Ra St. Brown, just be aware of these guys. They've been playing well the last couple weeks. Quintez Cephas has been over double digits 3 out of 4 games. So just some nice development stuff going on for the Detroit Lions wide receivers. Let me see here. So Eduardo says, I'm in a standard scoring auction 6-point passing touchdown league with 300-yard passing 5-point bonus and 100-yard rushing receiving 5-point bonus as well as extra points for longer TDs. His team is Brady, Hurts, Trey Lance. So we're set at QB. Dalvin Cook, Saquon, Tyreek Hill, Brandon Cooks, Kenny G. Sauce, Robert Tunyon, Blankenship, Chuba, Pollard, Singletary, Fuller, and Ayuk. So he says, I'm trying to drop Singletary for Damian Williams and Fuller for AJ Green. Would you trade Hurts for AJ Brown? Yeah, I mean, if you're going to be set with Tom Brady the rest of the way, cash in Jalen Hurts now that you got Trey Lance in the starting lineup for the 49ers. I'm trying to drop Singletary for Damian Williams. I'm fine with that. I might actually be fine in Fuller for AJ Green. Yes, I want to drop Fuller for AJ Green. Go ahead and do that one. Go get Damian Williams for Singletary. That's fine with that. I think I like Singletary more than Damian Williams rest of season though. And then would you trade Hurts for A.J. Brown? I'm going to do that. Go get A.J. Brown. And then 18 PPR flex, Mike Williams, AJB, Swift, Sutton, Laviska. Jesus, this is loaded here. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going with DeAndre Swift. DeAndre Swift in a full PPR league. Give me DeAndre Swift. If you're looking for like the biggest boom, I suppose if AJ Brown plays, I might try to get him in my lineup. But Swift, to me, especially if Hawk's out, Swift's going to be the whole freaking offense for Detroit. So I like DeAndre Swift there. Pick one non-PPR, Laviska, Zach Moss, Antonio Brown, Jamar Chase, or Tyler Boyd. PPR, Laviska, Shenault, Zach Moss, Antonio Brown, Jamar Chase. Zach Moss is getting the volume right now, which is nice to see. But for me, I think it's, especially if Jair Alexander's out, I like Jamar Chase in a game where Green Bay should have their way against the Bengals defense. You might have to see Joe Burrow air it out a little bit. And with T. Higgins on the field as well, that actually could help Jamar Chase get open a little bit more. So I'm leaning towards Jamar Chase being the move. In a non-PPR, if you want the safe play, it's probably Zach Moss going up against the Chiefs. I could see him. I could just see a lot of points in that Chiefs-Bills game. Zach Moss has been a touchdown beast this year so far. Well, no. But anyways, let's cover the Broncos and the Steelers real quick. As far as like must starts in this game, it's really only Najee Harris, running back one for the Steelers. And I think Deontay Johnson, at this point, if you have Deontay, you're trying to find a way to get him in your lineups. Najee Harris, Deontay Johnson, that's the offense. Claypool and Juju, those guys, again, they all practiced today, which was nice. But they're all kind of just a little bit boom bust for me. So Claypool, I would probably rather play Claypool than Juju. But again, Juju had a bad game last week. Ben couldn't hit him. Maybe Juju explodes in this one. So try to find a way to get your Steelers in your lineups. If you guys do have questions, let me know. Both defenses are startable in this one because just the offenses are struggling at the moment here. If you're starting a Bronco, like Noah Fant might be the only guy I really trust. Cortland Sutton and Tim Patrick should be involved. We're watching the health of Melvin Gordon. So a lot of questions on Denver side because we don't even know who the quarterback is. If Drew Lock is the quarterback, I like Sutton. If it's Teddy, I like Tim Patrick. So there's almost too many moving pieces on the Denver side for me to give them an accurate analysis of what's going on. I think Noah Fant, if you have Fant and don't have a good backup option, go ahead and continue to start him regardless of who the quarterback is. But we got to wait and see what Bridgewater does. We got to wait and see what Melvin Gordon does. That's going to shift our thinking a lot. But I'm not so scared of the Pittsburgh defense right now. I know they're still really tough, but you can get fantasy points against the Steelers. Let me look at this real quick. So the Pittsburgh Steelers, where are you? So they give up the 19th most fantasy points here. So that's middle of the road. They do allow a fair amount of points to QBs and wide receivers, but again, we're waiting to see what happens with the quarterback and Melvin Gordon, of course. 10-team PPR flex: Mike Williams, JT, Josh Jacobs, Juju, Waddle, Devonta, AB, Patterson. Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith could be fun. This one's tough. I'm probably gonna lean into Mike Williams here. I'm probably going to lean into Mike Williams. And then I think the next best play would probably be Cordero Patterson, but I'm going to continue to go with Mike Williams here. I know he had a bad game last week, but Herbert owes him a touchdown, damn it. I don't want to miss it. Kittle or Pitts? Give me Kittle. Kittle's missing some practice and stuff this week here, so maybe the safe call is just play Kyle Pitts. We're waiting for that first career touchdown. I'm going to say Kyle Pitts. Singletary is the same buy as Dalvin Cook. Should I just start Pollard in week 7? Pollard, same buy too. Oh, no. We'll need to know. Let's see. So can you just use who do you have left as running backs here? So you're just going to use Saquon and I don't know who else for week 7. Yeah, Saquon and Damian Williams. I think that makes sense. So go ahead and do it. That does make sense to me. Then you got to get through your bye weeks. Will Brown or Julio play? I'm undecided on Julio. It looks like A.J. Brown, though. It looks like he's leaning towards playing here. So good sign from Wednesday practice for A.J. Brown. And we'll see about Julio yet. But I would say A.J. Brown more likely than Julio. For the Miami Dolphins and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Buccaneers are simple. You're starting Tom, you're starting Fournette as a running back 2 flex, you're starting Godwin, Evans, you're going to try to get Antonio Brown in the lineup, and then if you need tight end help, Cameron Brate can be your guy. He did have more targets than O.J. Howard last week, so if you're desperate for tight end, Cameron Brate could be your guy. Start the Bucs defense. I'm going to watch for Giovanni Bernard the rest of practice this week. O.J. Howard, no thanks. Ronald Jones is still kind of just like this low-end stash play that I'm holding out hope for at some point will pay off. On the Dolphins side, Tampa Bay's defense, man, it allows the most fantasy points through 4 games. I know they've played good teams, but they allowed the most wide receiver points and a fair amount of quarterback points and a lot of tight end points. So Tampa Bay can be had. I think Gesicki is a guy you want to get in your lineup. You want to try to get Waddle and Devontae Parker in there as well. Jacoby Brissett, quarterback 2 for Superflex leagues. That's about it. Myles Gaskin, I'm probably going to shut him down. Like I don't want to whip him out there, especially against Tampa Bay. We know they don't allow running back points. So I'm going to say no to Gaskin. I'm going to say hell no to the defense, and then just avoid Malcolm Brown, Salvin Ahmed, and Will Fuller there. Let me see here. I can do them. Otherwise, I had the pick scheduled for 1 hour before the draft. I kind of like not knowing. It kind of helps, and I just like kind of doing it on the fly. So I'm leaning towards just doing it 1 hour before the draft, randomized. 10-team PPR flex: Clyde Edwards, James Conner, Patterson, Tim Patrick, Sanders, Josh Gordon, Renfro, Elijah Mitchell. You're gonna get Clyde in there. I know it's a tough matchup against Buffalo, but you got to roll with Clyde, and then probably wait. I might change my 2. If you just need one guy, give me Emmanuel Sanders. Buffalo, Sunday Night Football against the Chiefs, give me Emmanuel Sanders. And then I would probably say Cordero Patterson and then Clyde. New Orleans Saints at the Washington Football Team. Heineke, he's a fringe quarterback 1 right now. He's great as a QB2 for Superflex leagues, but man, he's playing very well. Antonio Gibson and Terry McLaurin are in your lineups. Curtis Samuel, I'm interested. J.D. McKissick, I'm interested in a PPR flex spot. And then again, no Logan Thomas. He's on IR for the next 3 games. Ricky Seals-Jones, if you need to pick up a tight end for 3 weeks, he could be interesting. Still going to say no to Adam Humphries. On the Saints side, it's Alvin Kamara. You're going to continue to use him. Jameis Winston, just a QB2 for Superflex leagues. And then maybe Marquez Callaway. The only reason we're interested right now is because Washington Football Team is the worst against the quarterback and second worst against wide receiver in PPR points so far. So that's why I'm interested in Marquez Callaway. I don't know if I want to trust the Saints defense. They just got lit up by the Giants last week, and we're just going to say no to all these guys down here. But interesting game. This one's in Washington. I think Gibson, Terry McLaurin are all going to feast, and we'll see if Curtis Samuel can get more involved in this one. Jamar Chase, Lamb, AB, star 2. Give me Lamb, give me Chase. Those are the big names there. I like Corey Davis against Atlanta though. Let me see what Atlanta's doing. Atlanta's better against the wide receiver. They just allow a lot more running back points. So for me, I don't want to miss Lamb and Jamar Chase. I'm probably gonna roll with those guys. Michael Thomas. Thomas is he back? When's Michael Thomas coming back? I think he's on the PUP list or the IR list. Is he? I think it's after week 6. Let me see. Do we have any news on Michael Thomas? Yeah, we're still waiting to see. We're still waiting to see with Michael Thomas, but if he's available in your league, he should be picked up. 10-team PPR, pick 1. Boyd, Woods, Gaskin, Laviska, Tim Patrick, Damian Williams. I'm going to say no to Gaskin. I like Boyd. I like Woods. I like a lot of these guys, but I don't know if I'm a homer for Laviska Shenault, but I think this DJ Chark injury is going to really open things up for Viska. So I am most excited to get Laviska in my lineup. He was the focal point of the offense in the passing game the other night. So I like Viska. It's a good matchup against Tennessee too. So I'm going to say Viska. Eagles at the Carolina Panthers. Sam Darnold and Jalen Hurts are both QB1s in this one. I have Chuba Hubbard in here, but I might have to rethink my things here because Christian McCaffrey got the limited practice in today. If McCaffrey plays, you're playing him. But Chuba Hubbard, if you guys are sly, maybe try and trade him this week if you got him. We'll see what happens. But DJ Moore, balling, he's a top 5 receiver. You're going to get him in your lineup every week. I think Robbie Anderson has entered back into our wide receiver 3 flex territory. He had 11 targets last week. He didn't have a big game, but I like the targets. Maybe the Panthers defense. And I'm going to say no to Terrace Marshall Jr., Ian Thomas, Tommy Tremble, Rodney Smith. For the Eagles, Goddard and Ertz are kind of the same player. They're both, top 10, top 12 options every week. Devonta Smith, I'm going to try to get him in my lineups. I know the Panthers defense is pretty solid, but I think at this point you got to roll with the punches with Devonta Smith. He's got that big game upside. I'd rather start Kenneth Gainwell than Miles Sanders. If you guys have Eagles questions, we can see. And just say no thank you to the Eagles defense. Reagor, Watkins, Greg Ward, whatever. But fun game. Carolina is playing well. They got lit up last week against Dallas. We'll see what they can do against the Eagles, though. And no problem. That's what I'm here for. And, Cade Cunningham, I don't know. I haven't been too locked in what happened to Cade Cunningham. But Tennessee Titans, Jacksonville Jaguars. Ryan Tannehill, again, if he gets A.J. Brown this week, I feel good about him as a top 10, top 12 option. But clearly the guy, Derrick Henry, I'm not here to tell you to start Derrick Henry. You already know that. But he's the focal point of the offense in this one again. If A.J. Brown can't play, Jeremy McNichols is an interesting flex. Chester Rogers. I'm going to lean towards telling you guys no Titans this week unless it's A.J. Brown, Tannehill, or Derrick Henry. That's really all we can trust. There's just too many names, too many things going on for moving parts here that I just think Tannehill, Henry, A.J. Brown. And if Julio plays, I'm fine with it. For the Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, good super flex option this week against Tennessee. James Robinson, I think he's a top 10 running back for at least the next few games. I'm trying to get Laviska Shenault. I'm trying to get him into all of my lineups this week. Same thing with Marvin Jones. And then maybe Dan Arnold. If you need a tight end, he might be worth picking up as a tight end number 2. Say no to both defenses in this one. I know the Titans, they just lost to the Jets. We can't trust this defense. Even against Jacksonville, I think Jacksonville could be they could, pull off another upset here. So Carlos Hyde, Tyron Johnson, Jamal Agnew, Tavon Austin, no thank you. Josh Jacobs or Leonard Fournette. Let's see. So we have time on this one. If Giovanni Bernard is out, I like Leonard Fournette. Otherwise, I'm going to roll with Josh Jacobs. But if Gio is out, give me Leonard Fournette. Let's see here. Patriots Texans, I'm not going to waste any time on the Texans. It's Brandon Cooks. If you got him, use him as a wide receiver 3 flex. If you have questions, let me know. I think you just got to throw him in there. It was an awful game last week, and he still mustered up 9 points. So you don't want to miss anything. If you have Brandon Cooks, you got a good receiver on your hands. The Patriots should be a fun game here. They're going to get their second win of the season. Mac Jones, quarterback 2 for Superflex leagues. Damian Harris, a top 24 running back this week with volume. Jacoby Myers and Hunter Henry. I'm trying to get those guys in my lineup. If you're feeling risky, Aguilar, Jonnu Smith, I don't love it. But Brandon Bolden is the PPR James White back of this offense right now. So if you need somebody, even if you just want to add them and see what happens, Brandon Bolden is getting the passing down work that James White had. Start the Patriots defense, and then we're going to leave these jokesters down here on the bench. But ugly game. We'll see if Davis Mills can look a little bit better, but I think Bill Belichick's going to get the best of them. I'm going to offer Hurts and Singletary for Pitts and Rondon Moore. Is that worth it? You should be getting more. I think you could get a lot more. If you're selling Jalen Hurts, you should be getting a little bit. Hurts and Singletary, I would want a little bit more on that side. You should be getting Jalen Hurts is a top 5 fantasy option right now. And your Singletary himself is not that bad either. So I'm gonna want a little bit more there. So I would definitely hold on to Hurts and Singletary if you can look for a better offer. Thoughts on the Gilmore trade? It makes sense with the injury to, I can't remember their first round pick's name, but J.C. Horn with the foot injury. The Panthers think that they can make a run here. We need Christian McCaffrey back, but that defense with that secondary, it's going to be tough to pass on. They know they have to play Tom Brady twice yet this year, so I'm a big fan of it. I thought the Packers might go and do it, but the Panthers are the one to get the job done with the money. Who is Antonio Brown worth trading for? So let's. I'm going to go pull up FF today here. I just want to see what Antonio Brown is worth right now in terms of PPR points. So Antonio Brown, I don't even know if he's a top 50 receiver right now. So he's wide receiver 54. He's averaging about 13.2 points per game. So on a 13.2 points per game basis, where would that put him if we put him here? So he's technically, again, 13.2 fantasy points puts him at wide receiver 34. If you can get someone for him, if you're trying to win the trade, I might want Emmanuel Sanders over him. Sanders is a little bit more consistent. You look at the targets here, 26 targets for Sanders, 21, I guess, in 3 games for Antonio Brown. I don't know. I personally, I think I'd want to hold on to him. But if you're looking for players, I suppose Corey Davis, you might be able to get that. You might be able to get Emmanuel Sanders, maybe Tyler Boyd. Some players in this range around here. If you want to try to get Robert Woods, stuff like that. Some guys that maybe aren't doing quite as well at the moment right now, but could have brighter days. Who would you start, Jacoby or Shenault Jr.? I'm going to go with Laviska Shenault. It's the Tennessee Titans defense, and we know that the Jaguars are just going to need to wing it a lot in that game to keep up. And the Patriots, that could be a really easy game where I don't think we're going to see Mac Jones throw the ball 40-plus times in this one. So I'm going to go with Laviska Shenault. I think Shenault gets his first TD of the season this week, so I feel good about that. We've gotten to the Chicago and the Las Vegas Raiders game. This is one of the late games on Sunday afternoon. Derek Carr, quarterback 1, fire him up. Justin Fields is superflex quarterback 2. I still don't know if I can trust him in QB1 leagues just yet. You're trying to get Damian Williams and Josh Jacobs into both your lineups as running back 2s. Darren Waller, I shouldn't get any questions on Darren Waller. But Hunter Renfrow, man, he's probably my favorite receiver of this group right now. He's in a good sync and rhythm with Derek Carr right now. He's been over double digits in 4 straight games. I'm trying to get him in my lineup if you can in a wide receiver 3 or a flex position for PPR leagues. Henry Ruggs can do some nice things. He's a flex play, boom bust flex play. I think I'd rather own Darnell Mooney than Allen Robinson right now. If you guys have questions on Robinson or Mooney, let me know. I'm going to try to get these guys in my lineups if I can. I don't want to miss Allen Robinson, big game. And then the defenses, I just don't know if I trust the Bears or the Raiders in this one. It could be kind of an ugly day. And then say no to Kenyon Drake, Bryan Edwards, Peyton Barber, Cole Kmet. Khalil Herbert, though. So Damian Williams has a thigh bruise right now. And the Bears just traded for Jakeem Grant, who's going to be a special teams player for them. And Khalil Herbert was the special teams player for them. So this tips the hat to me that says Khalil Herbert might be a little bit more involved in the offense than we would expect. So I like the Damian Williams pickup. I think he's going to lead the team in running back touches, but don't be surprised if Khalil Herbert is going to get a handful of touches and look good on those touches too. He's a guy that you can stash and see what happens, but I do like Mr. Khalil Herbert quite a bit right now as a bench stash for the next few weeks. Hunt or Hilaire, the Browns going up. Who do the Browns play? They play the Chargers right here. And the Buffalo Bills, man. The Bills are just really stingy on defense right now. I'm going to lean with Kareem Hunt. If Hawk's out, he's gonna kill. I have so much stock in him. Well, we just got to make sure we get a good backup tight end in there. There's plenty of them. Hunter, Renfrow, Henry Ruggs, or Jacoby Myers. I will take Hunter Renfrow here. And then, the TikTok, man. TikTok 2000, we're going for it. But Browns, Chargers, really fun game here. I think for must starts for the Chargers, it's Herbert, Eckler, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. And then Jared Cook, he's a pretty good tight end right now. He did score a touchdown. Both Jared Cook and Darnold Parham scored a touchdown. If you guys want to just file something away in the back of your brains, if Jared Cook gets hurt, Donald Parham right here is the guy that's going to smash for the tight end position here. So if Cook gets hurt, you're going to want Donald Parham. I even think on Saturday morning, sometimes I just look at my things and I'm thinking who's a guy that I could just add? And if the starter gets hurt, I'm looking at a guy that's going to be hot on the waiver wire next week. That's Donald Parham on the list for me. If anything happens to Eckler, it looks like Justin Jackson's the main backup. So just things to be ahead of. Try to, just play hedge bets and see what happens there. But for the Browns, I don't know if I trust Baker Mayfield as a QB2. I might actually pull him down here. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, those are the guys you want to get in your lineups. Odell Beckham, he's a wide receiver 3 flex play at best. He does make good plays in big games here. So that's really it. The Browns offense, Chubb, Hunt, and Odell Beckham, that's the only pieces that I want. But really a big fan of this game. This should be a good football game. Both teams are playing good football at the moment. The Giants and the Dallas Cowboys, this one should have a lot of points in it. Both defenses are vulnerable. You're starting Dak, Zeke, CeeDee Lamb, Cooper. I think Dalton Schultz is a must-start tight end right now. I even like Blake Jarwin as a deep sleeper. And then Tony Pollard, again, we've talked a lot about Tony Pollard over the last few weeks. He's on a floor game, he's going to get you 6 to 9 points. And if he gets a touchdown in or he just takes a big play, 50, 60 yards or something, Tony Pollard can be your guy. He's just a low-end running back 2 flex play. Daniel Jones, quarterback. I think he's a top 12 quarterback this week. Saquon Barkley, I shouldn't have any more questions about Saquon Barkley as a top running back 1. Kenny Golladay, I want to get him in my lineups as my wide receiver 3 flex. Evan Ingram, it's low-hanging fruit. He's a 7 to 8 point floor guy right now. And then Kadarius Toney. If Sterling Shepard or Darius Slayton are out, Kadarius Toney looked good last week. He got hit with a lot of targets. So he's a guy you could be added to the end of your bench. Say no to the Giants defense, but the Dallas defense, I'm interested in the Dallas defense just because Jones has turnovers. They could get a touchdown. It's at home. Some good things could happen for Dallas. Let's see here. Eduardo says, would you offer Hurts, Kenny G, and Tunyon for A.J. Brown, Rondale Moore, and Pitts? Kenny G and Tunyon. So this one I'm starting to like. I don't know if I need Rondale Moore doesn't really do much for me in this trade. I really like AJ Brown, and I think the upgrade to Pitts over Tunyon is nice. So this one's closer to me. I feel pretty good about this one. I would prefer to hold on to Kenny G. Can you offer Hurts and Tunyon for AJ Brown and Pitts? I don't know if that works, but this one's definitely getting closer. Definitely really, really close. I don't know if I'm ever going to confidently start Rondale Moore. I've been leaving him on the bench here. So the Moore's going to require patience. So if you're fine with that, you don't need him for your lineup right now, I would say go ahead and do it. You're locking in AJ Brown, who when healthy, we know he's a beast of a receiver. So I'm going to say go ahead and do it. Hurts isn't doing anything for you on your bench. Might as well get something before anything else would happen. But San Francisco, Arizona Cardinals, fun game. Kyler Murray, QB1, Chase Edmonds. Edmonds is a top 12 back right now. He's a low-end running back 1. Hopkins, I think he's no longer a wide receiver 1 in fantasy football. I think he's a top 20 receiver every week going forward. I'm sure now that I say that, he'll have a top 5 week, but Hopkins is a wide receiver 2 for me. Max Williams, interesting tight end option. If you need flexing or need tight end streamers, he could be a guy for you. I think you're going to try to get AJ Green, Christian Kirk in your lineups as wide receiver 3 flexes, and then James Conner. He's boom bust touchdown dependent, but he's rolling right now, and he's got that red zone role locked in there. So I'd love to see James Conner rack up those touchdowns. I'm going to say no to both defenses in this one, and then Rondale Moore, too hard to trust right now. But again, like Eduardo says, patience. If anything happens to AJ Green or Christian Kirk, Rondale Moore is going to be put into a bigger position of the offense. Trey Lance time. We're still not sure if Jimmy Garoppolo, what's going on with him, but if Trey Lance gets to start, I'm interested in him as a fringe quarterback 1. He should not be sitting on waiver wires, even in 8 or 10-man leagues. I think he's worth picking up. Debo, I shouldn't get any more questions. We're starting Debo every week. George Kittle, as long as George Kittle plays, I want him in my lineups. Brandon Ayuk, I might move Ayuk back down to the bench. I don't know if we can trust him. And then the running back, Sermon versus Mitchell. I think I'm waiting to see. I'm waiting to see what's going on with Mitchell, because if Mitchell's out, I like Sermon. If Mitchell's in, I want nothing to do with this backfield. And then Kyle Juszczyk, Mohamed Sanu, no thank you. But really fun game. 4-0 Arizona Cardinals, the frisky 49ers with Trey Lance at the QB spot. Sermon or Hunter went through. Sermon or Hunter Renfrow? Give me Hunter Renfrow. Because as of today, I don't know what's going on with Elijah Mitchell. He's on track to play. If Mitchell plays, it's going to be a mess. I'll go with Hunter Renfrow. It's just safe points. Sunday Night Football, probably the best game of this whole slate. Buffalo Bills and Kansas City Chiefs. I'm going to lean towards getting players into this game. This is going to be a really fun one. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. Of course, you're starting these guys. I think Zach Moss, low-end running back 2, flex play, looks really good. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, kind of the same thing. You're starting Diggs. You're starting Tyreek. You're starting Travis Kelce. I think Dawson Knox is a must-start play right now. He's playing too well. The Chiefs defense is not great. You're going to find out if you haven't seen the Chiefs play yet. Sanders, Singletary, Cole Beasley. I'm interested in all these guys having wide receiver 3 flex play, running back 2 flex ability. Say no to the defenses again. And then Gabe Davis, leave him on your bench. He shouldn't even be owned in 10 or 12-man leagues. Hardman, Darrell Williams, Josh Gordon should be picked up. And then Jordy Fortson's been catching touchdowns here, but these are all guys I want to leave on the bench. Let's see. Yeah, man, let's get a good game tonight. Tomorrow night, we need a lot of points to get our game. Get our weeks rolling here, man. Finally, a good Thursday night football game with a lot of fantasy options. So I'm pretty excited. But Kansas City, Buffalo Bills, man, this should be fun. If Josh Gordon plays, I'm going to lean towards not playing him in his first week. I want to use it as an observation week before I start recommending Josh Gordon. But he should be picked up in 12-man leagues. I'm curious if anyone's still listening. Like, do you what size leagues do you guys play in? Just put 10, 12, 8. Like, what size leagues do you play in? Because these charts are done, thinking about mainly 10 or 12-man leagues. That's kind of where my thought process is when I do these charts. So I guess that info would help me for future questions. But the Colts, Baltimore Ravens are our Monday night football game. The Lamar Jackson Ravens here, quarterback 1 for Lamar. Marquise Brown, you're starting him. Mark Andrews, you're starting him. I think Latavius Murray, running back 2 flex play. And Sammy Watkins has been playing pretty well. He's got a high floor. He's a fringe wide receiver 3 flex. Start the Ravens defense. We're going to say no to Le'Veon Bell, Devin Duvernay, James Proche. Rashad Bateman, we'll see if he gets going in this one. I'm not going to start those guys, though. Definitely don't start any of those guys, especially a guy coming back from his first game like Bateman. I know it could be nice, but the risk reward is just too different for me. As far as the Colts, Carson Wentz, quarterback 2, Superflex leagues. Jonathan Taylor finally got in the end zone last week. He's a running back 2. Pittman Jr., I just think based on volume, PPR leagues, wide receiver 3 flex. And maybe it's a Nyheim Hines. It might be a Nyheim Hines game in this one, because if the Ravens are putting up points, maybe we see more Nyheim Hines. If you guys have questions on him, maybe it's a good game for Hines. I'm probably going to lean towards staying away from the Colts defense, but Zach Pascal and then Mola Ali Cox, got 2 touchdowns last week. The Ravens give up the most tight end points to, in PPR. So I'm interested in Mola Ali Cox. I might actually move him up into the starting column here, but interesting game here. We get to get our first primetime glimpse of the Colts. I'm not going to shake it off here. I think the Colts could be pesky. They got their first win last week again. So it should be fun. Baltimore Ravens, Indianapolis Colts. But that completes the start sits for week 5. Thanks for sharing this information, guys. 12 team. Yeah, every league that I play in, except I play in 6 leagues. I think only one of them is a 10-man. So everything I play is 12-man. So that's kind of what the majority of my thinking goes for. But if you guys are still hanging with me tonight, all right, Justin, have a good night, sir. We'll see you on the flip side. But check out theFantasyFellowship.com. I got this new link here, fantasy points allowed by position. I've been making some TikTok videos on this, and people have been loving this information. But this is essentially just a chart showing, how many fantasy points teams allow to the quarterback, running back, wide receivers, and tight ends. And then I add it all up. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Washington football team, the Seahawks, the Chiefs, and the Falcons, these are bad defenses right now. Bright green means you want to start that position against this team. So like Miami, you kind of want to get Jalen Waddle, Devontae Parker if they're good. You want to get Mike Gesicki in there. The red equals avoid. So check out these charts on thefantasyfellowship.com. And then if you scroll down, you can see the individual. This is all the QB stats that they've allowed. This is all the running backs, all the receivers, and all the tight ends. So I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me tonight. It is, again, this is part 1 of the Start Sit series. I think I'm going to go live on Saturday night this week. So if you guys want to hang out with me on Saturday night, 7 p.m. Central Time, we'll be there. But again, thank you guys so much for your time. Subscribe if you're new. Check out the website, and we'll see you guys in the next one. And good luck tomorrow night as well. Thanks. Peace.